The main character in any form of media, whether it be movies, books, or video games, are often portrayed as righteous and incapable of any wrongdoing. It makes sense you need a hero to display heroic attributes like courage, trust, and morality. Also, in a video game, you don't want to project any negative characteristics onto a character that the player probably sees themselves as, given they're controlling all their actions. That's why the playable main character can look bland and cookie-cutter when compared to other characters in the same game, where the writers have a lot more liberty with complex ideas and traits. Yes, there are a lot of games today that choose to abandon this sort of avatar, silent protagonist in favor of actual characterization. But a lot of older games chose not to really go with this. Even more story-heavy games had trouble when it came to characterizing the playable character. That is one way in which these somewhat older titles paled in comparison to traditional media, where there is no playable character, and the writers can write however they want for every single character involved in the story. But when you have a continuing storyline in video games where the playable character changes from game to game, now you've opened up an opportunity to add depth and different emotions to a previously righteous and moral playable character. And one of my favorite examples of this comes in Ace Attorney Apollo Justice. Apollo Justice is the fourth main series game in the Ace Attorney line, coming right after the original trilogy. And in that original trilogy, the player is mostly controlling fledgling attorney Phoenix Wright. Through case after case after case, Phoenix consistently proves his client's innocence and is always on the correct side of the story. Despite moral questions of the law and ethics surrounding the first trilogy, the defense attorneys are always on the right side more often than not. It is the prosecutors that always seem to be playing foul. Whether it be Edgeworth using false claims and evidence, eventually being called a demon lawyer, Von Karma's winning streak that is surely the result of some dubious actions, or Francisca using a goddamn whip in the courtroom. And Godot being Godot. The prosecutors are definitely villains, even if the defendant turns out to be guilty. And to that end, Phoenix is pretty lucky with all the cases he takes, resulting in a truthful, not guilty verdict. The lessons that he's learned from his own righteous and moral mentor, Mia Fey, are paying off. The idea that you must believe in your client's innocence until the bitter end is going very well, all things considered. Even that one time where the belief was misplaced. Hard work and trust in one's client is the bedrock of being a good defense attorney, and it is what makes Phoenix the hero in these three games. He has no real motive aside from finding the truth and ensuring his faith in his client was well directed. The issue with this is that Phoenix is more so a mechanic for the development of other characters rather than showing too much development within himself. Phoenix stays a arbiter of the truth throughout most of the trilogy, and it's what causes all the characters in these games to have a general shift towards finding the truth being the core motive of those in the legal system. All three main prosecutors that Phoenix goes up against have changes in their initial motives. Edgeworth is the main example of this, where he develops away from the ruthless prosecutor he starts as to being more concerned with the truth. He even takes the defense bench by the end of the trilogy. You can even follow his characterization further in his own set of games, where despite being the playable main character, he's characterized decently well. And it's all thanks to our boy, Phoenix Wright, an infallible attorney who I am sure will stay this way and purify the legal system for as long as he lives. Yeah, just kidding on that one. After the story of the first trilogy concludes, a new protagonist takes the stage and the box art, Apollo Justice, with the guidance and mentorship of one Christoph Gavin. In the first case, the defendant specifically calls for Apollo to take the case rather than the more seasoned Gavin, which is quite strange. Why would you put your life in the hands of the intern? Anyway, this defendant is accused of killing Shoddy Smith after a poker game with blunt force trauma in the head in the basement of a restaurant. Alright, bring him in, let's have a look at them. Oh. The first person that appears on the defendant's stand is none other than Phoenix Wright. Phoenix has definitely gotten down on himself and gone through his share of troubles in the first 3 games, but this is, different. Looks a lot different. The blue suit has been replaced by a baggy black hoodie, and the iconic spiky hair is now covered by a bluish-green beanie. He's also now a pianist at a bizarre Russian restaurant. The judge refers to him as a, quote, fallen defense attorney. Alright, so is he just bad now? Or is he disbarred? He's disbarred? Alright, he's disbarred. So much of what Phoenix was built up to be when he was the main character continues to unravel in this case. The guy isn't really a pianist right now, and he mostly works at this restaurant just to draw in customers to play friendly games of poker. And through 7 years, Phoenix has never lost at these card games. Pretty absurd, but I mean, Phoenix was pretty lucky in not losing a court case, so maybe that faith of the gods carries over here. Phoenix also seems pretty chill about the whole accused of murder thing, despite the loud and uncomposed nature of his defense attorney that he himself asked for. He also took a locket from the victim and claims that it just has a photo of his own daughter. Alright, less answers and more questions. Even more so when Phoenix seemingly has an avenue for innocence, with the waitress Olga Orly looking quite suspicious. Yet he wants the trial to continue and goads on Apollo to make it so. The game is already doing a lot of interesting things, and we're only halfway through the tutorial case. The main thing is that I think it's a very nice way to present a small time skip. The anticipated trajectory of Phoenix's career in law is completely subverted into this meager poker player at the Borscht Club. But that alone isn't all that's changed about our spiky-haired friend. His appearance and occupation may be different, but could what was on the inside have changed as well? Then, during recess, Phoenix states that he has not told anyone the truth of this case. If anyone should know how detrimental hiding details of a murder is, it should be the man who constantly unraveled these details into the truth for not guilty verdicts, and the main thing working against him was his clients not fully telling him the truth. Did this man actually commit the crime? No, he's being very open and calm with this rookie Apollo. It seems like he's confident that this young attorney will bring the truth to light and acquit him. After Apollo has used his very nifty ability to perceive small tells in a person's movement, the court reaches the possibility that there could have been a 4th person at the crime scene in addition to Phoenix, Shoddy Smith, and Olga. Phoenix claims that he knows who this is and accuses Christoph Gavin, Apollo's mentor. In doing so, Phoenix displays his logical reasoning and statements that hinted towards this being the truth. He definitely has not lost a step when it comes to the battles of wits in the courtroom. So why is he doing it from the witness stand rather than the defense bench? The court tries to narrow down on Gavin as a suspect and breaks for recess. During this recess, a young girl comes up to Apollo and gives him the evidence he will need to prove Gavin is the murderer. An ace of spades card with a drop of blood, intended to navigate Apollo towards the true killer. Gavin tries to claim that this evidence is fraudulent, but Phoenix truly had this ace up his sleeve. Only the murderer would claim this evidence to be fake or know it was fake to begin with. Gavin is doomed in a lose-lose of self-incrimination, and Phoenix is acquitted. After the trial, it turns out this trump card that saved our protagonist is indeed forgery. The discovery that this evidence was fabricated by none other than Phoenix himself is the final bomb of tone change in a wild trial. He was the one previously going up against prosecutors who rigged the game, but now as life has brought him down to his lowest point, he is very willing to pull the strings in his favor. After Phoenix found Smith's dead body, he called Gavin to defend him, and Gavin let slip information that made Wright suspicious. So Wright fabricated the ace of spades right then and there at the crime scene. He cheated off of a hunch more than anything, and he is very casual about it after Apollo punches him for this clear violation of court ethics. Phoenix tells him to hit harder next time, and leaves. Phoenix is much more humanized through this depiction of him. He's no longer beholden to being the hero of the story. He's fabricating evidence just like the past villains, but at least he's correct in doing so, so does that vindicate him? The player, of course, has nothing left to do but wonder, how did he get this way? How did we go from the justice-seeking attorney Phoenix Wright to the nonchalant, indirect, disbarred man we see in Turnabout Trump? That's what makes this case so amazing to me. It not only gives the players so many questions they want answers to, but it also completely destroys the established character of Phoenix Wright. He now contradicts almost every trait you would have used to describe him after the original 3 games. He was young and energetic, and now he is weathered and collected. Where once was someone who would put all his trust into his client's innocence and display immeasurable persistence to get the truth, now stands someone who will use whatever means necessary to reach that truth. Removing Phoenix from the player's hands allowed him to fill a very different role in terms of the story, where he is more of an anti-hero that still has some beliefs in finding the truth, but is now not above playing foul. He also is the only source of guidance our new protagonist Apollo will have. He's not taught by someone like Mia, who was also depicted very morally. Apollo is being taught now by someone who has forged evidence. It makes Apollo's development much more interesting to follow, because while Phoenix wants this new young attorney to have the same core beliefs instilled in him by his mentor, he also probably wants this new guy to help solve the calamity of his own life and figure out what happened years ago in the climax of this game. Phoenix accepts that the trials of life catch up to us all. No one stays on the winning side forever. It can all come crashing down, leaving you wondering where it all went so wrong. But that's inevitable. Phoenix has realized it's about what he does after the fact. And with the gears in motion from this one case, Phoenix is on track to do just that, and not only get his life back where he wants it to be, but also purify the legal system from a different angle. Just please skip the second case. Please, for the love of God.